Live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, it's time for the Exit Exchange, brought to you by XPX Atlanta, dedicated to changing the trajectory of exit planning services in the Southeast. Now, here's your host.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Exit Exchange. I'm your host, John Ray, and I'm excited for this one. This is going to be a good one. Gabrielle Mills is with us. She is the president of Sourced. We'll get to her in just a second and hear about her fantastic story. But I just want to remind you that this show is brought to you by XPX Atlanta, the Atlanta chapter of the Exit Planning Exchange. XPX Atlanta is ideally positioned to serve a extremely high concentration of family and privately held businesses in this metro region and in the Southeast. And the organization is, chock full of terrific advisors and service providers that focus on collaboration and putting the client's interest first as those clients prepare for successful exits. If an organization like this is of interest to you, go check it out. xpxatlanta.org is the place to go. We'd love to have you at a future event. Gabrielle Mills is with us, folks. Gabrielle is with Sourced. She's the president of Sourced, and Sourced is a gold sponsor of XPX Atlanta. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Let's talk about you and Sourced. How you serving folks out there?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with what I do? What Sourced is?
Let's start with that first. For the three people that do not know Sourced.
I'm sure there's a lot more than three people. Yeah. So Sourced is a company that my mom and business partner, Chrissy Strohmeyer, started 9 years ago. We are a back office services firm. So there's one side of our business that does fractional support. And on that side, we have a full-scale accounting firm. We have a full-scale marketing agency. We do fractional HR support for small to mid-market companies, and we do fractional administrative support. And then for the businesses that need fractional, but they also need somebody full-time, or they don't need fractional because they need somebody full-time, we do talent acquisition for full-time direct hire placements for them. And we're industry agnostic. We help lots of different kinds of businesses. It's actually really exciting when we get something we haven't seen before.
That's cool. So talk about the history of the organization, just how you got started, the rationale for it all, and how you clearly have deepened over the years in terms of your capabilities and the services that you can offer clients.
That's a big question.
We got time.
Boil down into 9 years of history, starting from zero experience. Let me tell you that. Okay, so Chrissy and I started just wanting to be entrepreneurs. I was working a corporate job. I loved my corporate job. And I worked in the branding department of a large hotel company. Loved it. But I always knew that there was something more for me. I wanted to go into entrepreneurship, and I had told my mom about that. And she was always a student of business and loved business. And she disclosed to me that she also has always wanted to do this. And I was like, okay, I don't have any experience, so why don't we do this together? So that kind of was the impetus for us starting. We did what every aspiring entrepreneur generally starts out doing, of let's maybe look into franchises and see what models are out there that we can buy into. And we wanted a B2B business with recurring revenue. We wanted a team of people. We wanted a fun business and something that was a little recession resistant as possible. And in the 6 years that we were searching for a franchise, we couldn't find it. Not one that really got us excited. Our bright idea was to create something of our own. And when I say bright, I say it facetiously, because our bright idea was to just go to business owners and be like, so what do you need? And where are you underserved? And if you were to do this all over again, what would you do instead? And we have a whiteboard that's in our office today, but it started in the basement bedroom of my mom's house because that's where I inevitably moved. And we put all the answers up on that whiteboard, and the concept of Sourced came out of that. in 9 years, we have not only built the model, we didn't really change the model, but the processes and systems of everything, we've made all the mistakes possible. We've had clients that have seen us and grown with us and helped us in all those ways in 9 years. So we're so much stronger for everything that we've been through, but I can't say it was always pretty. It's pretty now. It's great now. But you saw me when I was a baby business owner, just getting started. We didn't even have the concept of, oh, this is called back office support. Got it. That's
Right.
when you met me, was before I even knew all of that.
Right.
Now we're completely better and different.
I'm curious, Gabrielle, about your journey and how that journey has, given what you described, having quote unquote made all the mistakes, to quote you, what you're there to do is really help business owners over those same mistakes. And so just how building the business the way you did has made you much more capable of addressing, number one, being credible, right? Because you've been there, done that. And number two is serving clients in a much more effective way.
Oh yeah, 100%. So the biggest growth that has occurred within our company is we really started as like task oriented, and now we are experience oriented. We brought people on that they're really great people at the time, what we thought were really great people, but they just knew how to do tasks, and that's all we knew how to do too. As we've grown through the years, we've seen a bunch. We've brought new people in who have seen a bunch, and we've learned from each other. Every client brings a new challenge, but because we have lots of different clients now, we're able to see how this challenge with this person can affect, and we can learn from a different one and how we would handle that and why we don't want to do some things. And I'm not going to say we're advisors by any means, because at the end of the day, we need to do your accounting. We need to do your marketing. We need to help you hire. So we're still very task oriented, but we approach it with the credibility that we didn't have in the beginning. And because we've seen so much, we're able to say, here's why you want to do or not do these things. Take it or leave our advice. So we're able to bring that to the table now.
Using the kind of language I like to use, you bring a lot more value to the table.
Yeah. Well, I like to think so.
And value in terms of values that clients perceive, because what they're looking at are outcomes of whatever the advice you give them is, right?
Yeah. A lot of companies that we bring on. So we used to work with a lot of startups and new companies, and we learned pretty early on that wasn't our ideal client because they hadn't figured out their own business. We can't figure out somebody else's business. We can figure out the back office pieces and how to effectively do the back office stuff, but we can't tell you how to do sales. We can't tell you how to install a roof or whatever it is that you do. But once they get through that, my business is viable piece, and they bring us in, a lot of companies come in and they look to us and they're like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to hire. I've failed a number of times hiring the right people. I don't know how to do an effective marketing campaign. I certainly don't know how to do my books. So we saw this pattern over time of, we used to just come in and be like, we don't want to mess up your business and processes. We'll just pick up where you left off. And we've shifted because we learned that people actually come in and they're like, I don't know. I don't want to know. I'm trusting you. You just do it. So then we're directing more than we had ever had before.
And when you do that, the former, when you come in and pick up on what someone has left, you're picking up their mess, right?
Yeah. Learn that one.
Yeah.
When I told you we have made just about every mistake, like we really have.
Yeah.
Or something similar. So we don't do anything in that general vicinity. Now, like, we're in a period now, which is, it's really fun because we get to see something new and different all the time. It's different tackling a challenge versus fixing a mistake. Gone are the days of mistakes. And now it's just, oh, okay, this is different. And we're able to have intelligent conversations internally with ourselves of, this is not the right way to do this. Or remember that time when we need to avoid this X, Y, and Z situation. Or even if we've never encountered something before, we're able to say, we need to avoid these potential pitfalls. That just comes with growth and experience that we didn't have when we started because we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
So the commonalities of issues and problems and potential solutions that you see with clients, How do you describe those? I know certainly there's industry related kinds of commonalities, but are there age and stage common traits that you transfer that learning to from one company to another, or describe that?
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question. I don't know if I've ever really thought about it. Definitely there are business maturity situations that have similarities within different companies, regardless of the industry. And this industries have similarities. Like, for instance, law, you have a very particular way of doing accounting. It's extremely specialized. You have to handle it with extraordinary care because there's a lot of legalities that go along with how the accounting is done. But really, after a certain phase, it's within the service that are commonality. So if you're a business that's 5 years old, 10 years old, we've seen all of the similarities that we're going to see. And then it's just situational of every business generally needs some of the same things. It's just what levers you pull and what knobs you turn in order to get it to work specifically for the business. So for instance, if we're talking marketing, the way you do marketing for your first 5 years or 10 years, or not even years, up until a certain marketing budget is very different until you've got enough budget to do like proper marketing. And then there's only so many different options, but there's hundreds of thousands of ways you can utilize those options for your particular business.
Folks, we're here chatting with Gabrielle Mills. Gabrielle is the president of Sourced, and they are a leading full-service back-office solutions firm based here in Atlanta, but you've got offices or clients all over the country, I should say.
Yeah, so we are only here in Atlanta physically. We're in Peachtree Corners, and we have clients nationally, and we have our team members nationally. That was something that came out of COVID, actually.
Yeah. I want to get to managing a remote workforce here in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're an expert on that. But
yes.
Yeah, but in terms of clients that you have, so what are some of the most common mistakes that you see from clients in terms of you're looking at their situation saying, wish you'd have done something about this earlier? Right?
Accounting, period.
Accounting.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Yep. So what I always tell people is the order in which you should get back office support sometimes varies, but the first couple of steps is the exact same. Get a payroll service. Don't try to do payroll on your own. I tried that. It was terrible. I hated it. Payroll systems are so cheap and easy to use. Just get on a payroll system. Plug. We don't care what payroll system you use. And then start on an accounting system day one. Please, for the love of all that is good, do not use Excel. Yes, it works just fine. But if you want to be a legitimate business, you need to get on an accounting system. And it really behooves you to have a bookkeeper doing your books. They may not be the best bookkeeper in the world, or you can hire Sourced. That would be ideal.
Sure.
But at least somebody is doing the accounting. One of the worst mistakes you could make is you've gone years and years with bad accounting, and then it comes to somebody like us, and we're like, you have a big mess to fix, which is expensive because you have to go back years and fix the mess instead of just doing it right along the way. It is a lot more cost effective and a lot less headaches if you just get the right person from the beginning, make the investment so you don't have to pay the cost of fixing it down the road.
How much of that is simply having the wrong CPA? I don't want to throw any CPAs under the bus, but I guess what I'm getting to is just sometimes and this is true for a lot of us advisors, we don't demand enough of the clients. In this case, the CPAs don't demand, look, you really need to get your act together. I can do this tax return with your Nike shoebox full of crap, but it's costing you way too much and your business is going in the wrong direction because
I don't have enough visibility into a CPA's day-to-day to really say where they should be leaning in more with the clients. What I can tell you is that we partner with a lot of CPAs and they don't like to do the day-to-day accounting. And that's what businesses need. So they oftentimes go to their CPA wanting and craving that month-to-month, week-to-week bookkeeping and accounting support. But CPAs don't want to do that. It's boring. It's hard. It's tedious. They like to do the tax returns. That's where the most profit comes from, or the advisement. So they often I have seen CPAs who do the books in-house. One, the ones that don't do it, I just appreciate, because it's, if you're not going to do it right, or don't do it at all. And I think appreciate that.
Right.
But the ones that do it, that don't give attention to it, they're just causing a more headache down the line. However, we value CPAs because there are some things that we see in the books that we're not CPAs, we're accountants, very good ones, but not CPA, that only a CPA can provide that advisement. Now, that's the advisement that they like, this is why we work so well with CPAs, that we're just like, just hand it over to us. We're going to make your life easier. So all you have to do is get these reports, and then you can do your tax returns in an hour or 2 hours, and that's it. So I can't speak to what they could or should be doing differently, except for let a really good accountant or bookkeeper keep the stuff that they don't like to do.
Yeah, I would think the ideal situation for one of your clients is to have you doing the bookkeeping and doing that on a regular basis. And then that their CPA they're getting those reports. They're copied on those reports. And that gives that CPA a window into what they can advise the client on throughout the year.
Exactly. So there's 3 players in the accounting space. There's us as the bookkeeper / day-to-day accountant. That's an extremely important hire, because accounting is finicky. One, technology can't figure out how to do accounting yet. So if business is trying to use AI to automate their accounting, not a good idea. We can go into that in a minute. So there's that person, and they need to be very knowledgeable, because that's where the mistakes happen. There's the CPA that's doing the tax implications of that and the tax advice. And then there's often a CFO, whether that's a full-time CFO or a fractional CFO, and they're doing the forecasting, the cash flow. They're looking forward. So our job is to look backward and make sure that we're capturing the records appropriately. The CPA is trying to save you money on your taxes, and the CFO is making sure your business is taken care of in a financial space moving into the future. So that's the 3 people that a business needs to have in their back pocket on the accounting end.
Okay, I'm shocked to hear that AI is not the solution to all the problems we have in the world. You just
I love AI.
Yeah.
I am a big proponent of AI, but AI and accounting, they work hand in hand, but AI cannot replace account. It is really complicated for humans to do the accounting piece. There's some parts of the book in accounting, there's bookkeeping, and then there's accounting, and then there's tax, right? So we sit in the accounting space, which is just a higher, more elevated level of the day-to-day financials. I can do a lot of the bookkeeping stuff, but you still got to double check it constantly, because it makes mistakes constantly. And then when you've got individual circumstances that you really got to figure out how you journal something here, or what it reflects on the payroll here, or does this a liability, like your balance? AI cannot do a balance sheet. Like, it just can't. So there's just a lot in the accounting space that, I know we're all talking about accounting here. There's a lot in the accounting space that AI just can't do yet. So we do everything manually, because it should. We try to use it to help with efficiencies, but it ends up taking us the same amount of time anyway.
Yeah. So we've covered accounting. What's the second biggest thing that you wish business owners would have maybe given you a little bit better head start on in terms of that back office?
For when I was starting, the advice I would have gotten, or what do I see people?
What do you see in your clients generally?
Generally.
Yeah.
So it's a lot in the financial space. I've got one. I see a lot of businesses start with, you've got the big dream. Not always. Sometimes they want like lifestyle businesses too, but I see a lot of businesses get stuck in the weeds of the company, and they forget or don't have a desire to look beyond the situation, circumstance, or year to be like, where is this company going? Because we look at businesses and we say, yeah, we're just doing the back office stuff. But what we're trying to do is enable you for growth. And we really want to have an idea of where you want to take the company, so we grow with it and we set it up properly for growth. Sometimes people forget where they want to go, and they're making a ton of changes along the way. And it's like, let's just stop and let's just figure out what you want to achieve, and we're going to help you get there. We're going to set up your accounting correctly. We need to start your marketing and branding for who you want to be and build it to that versus be behind that and trying to always catch up. We need to figure out, and this isn't exactly us, but we work in partnership with people. What's your ideal org chart? So we know when's the time that we got to hire somebody, who are we looking for? What are they function? Are they in the business? So I would love to see owners lean more into where they want to go instead of where they are today. And honestly, I don't think that's any fault of their own. It's just really hard out here. It's really difficult to find the time to do that, especially when you're in the day-to-day individual circumstances of everything. It's extremely difficult to rise above it because everything else is pressing.
Yeah, that's true. We have to give our business owners grace here.
Oh, it's
right.
fine.
Because it's easy for us on the outside to say, you should have done this, you should have done that. But you just don't know where folks are and all the dragons they're fighting every day. But
and a lot of, in what I do, John, I do know a lot of the dragons they're fighting every day. And that's what makes what we do feel really fulfilling, because we intimately know what's going on, what they share with us, but we can see from a lot of what they share with us, okay, what their circumstances are like. And one of our values is service. It's serve generously. And all we want to do is make the situation better. And we may not be able to provide direct impact on that situation, but we can do a lot from our vantage point to be like, we want to help you get to where you want to go. Tell us where you want to go. You go handle that situation. We got this situation. And it's really great to see people through those seasons, because we can do a lot to help them through whatever it is they're going through.
One of the, I won't say it's a neglected topic in the XPX Atlanta chapter, because this chapter is pretty good at staying on top of kinds of topics that need to be addressed. But I think in exit planning generally, it seems to me there's the importance of a good back office in a business seems to get ignored relative to the financials.
It's fun at all.
But that's a place where buyers can really pick apart the value of a company.
I would say it is the place that buyers can really pick it apart from like your growth trajectory, but that comes down to financials. And essentially buyers are buying the business the model, which is not the back office, but the back office basically builds the model in a lot of ways. And so the systemization of your back office, along with some other things like your sales organization, I don't consider back office. That's something they're buying into. But if your back office is a mess, that business is not as sellable as you'd like it to. You think it could be. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. And you're giving a buyer, when you're in due diligence, let's say, you're giving a buyer the chance to take you apart by 1,000 cuts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And make something, I guess, what seems small to you, make it into something pretty large. Because they're looking for a platform. Generally, a buyer's looking for a platform to grow off of, to scale. That's what they're looking forward. They're not looking backward, as we all know. So the point is that they want to make sure they've got a foundation off which to scale.
Yeah, I was about to liken the business to a house, that the buyer wants to come in to a fully built structure that is stable, that is operationally sound, that you can, from day one, you can begin using it. It's a lot harder of a sell if you've got a decrepit house or that is half built, or one room was done really well, but another room's not really. It's a harder sell. They want something that from day one is going to be profitable, can move. You've got the right systems, the right processes. It's trainable. It's documented. You've got the right people. That's all the back office stuff, mostly the back office stuff.
Folks, we're here chatting with Gabrielle Mills. Gabrielle is the president of Sourced. Sourced is a gold sponsor of XPX Atlanta. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, why are you a gold sponsor of XPX Atlanta? Of all the organizations you're involved with a number of organizations around this region, why XPX Atlanta for you?
So I went to my first XPX meeting in 2019, and it was a large room, and I looked around the room and I saw a bunch of people that I had already met, and I would consider they were like good colleagues, like kind of friends, but we wouldn't necessarily have gone to dinner yet. And people that I really respected. And it was in that meeting that I was like, oh, this is a room I need to be in. If all these people are in this room, then this is a room that I want to be in. And then COVID happened, and there's been a lot of evolution to XPX since then, but it still remains that the people that are a part of the organization are just really good business people. And I love that everybody focuses on the middle market. I think I'm not going to say it's an underserved market, but it's one that isn't not necessarily at the forefront of what everyone's talking about. They either go after small businesses or they go after enterprise business. So mid-market's a secondary consideration. So I really like that they focus on that. And the content's really good. The people are really good. And so we've been doing it for, I guess, 6 years now. And yeah, why not be a sponsor of them?
Yeah. And I want to second, I mentioned it earlier, just the thoughtfulness of the content that it is quite thoughtful in terms of how the programming gets put together. And so there's a lot of reasons to be a part of the organization, including the networking that you mentioned and the collaboration. We can't forget how good the programming is.
It's very good.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk a little bit about where Sourced is going. You've gone wider and deeper. It strikes me, right? That's really what's happened with your organization, wider and deeper. So in terms of capabilities and all the different things you can do for a business. Where do you go from here?
We are not adding another service.
Okay.
I like to start out with a joke.
Okay.
No, we do 5 services now. That's more than enough.
Yeah.
We're not interested in taking on more, but what we're really focusing on in the near future is scale. So we've built the model, we've tested it. The proof of concept is long done. It's completely scalable. We just now need to scale it. So we've got some pretty good scale here in Atlanta, and we've gotten really great clients across the country, but we want to make a big splash. At one point, we thought we were going to expand into franchising, and that is not the way that we're going to expand now. At another point, we thought we were going to license. That's not how we're going to expand. We're just going to keep our corporate office here in Atlanta and just do it from here, which I think is very possible. But now we're going into a place where we're growing our sales team. We're really looking at our marketing efforts. We're seeing how we get this thing to the size that we've always wanted to be.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What advice would you give companies out there that are lured by the idea of acquiring, lured by the idea of franchising? And those are perfectly legitimate ways to grow, but they're shortcuts relative to the path you've taken, which is organic growth. So what advice would you give business owners as they consider those different options for growth?
I think buying into a business is a phenomenal way to get into business. What I did not know when I started was I knew building the model was going to take longer because we had to figure out the model. I didn't know what that meant until I actually did it. Somebody coached me and they told me, hey, it's going to take you two years of hell to get through that, to figure it out. It actually took 3 for me. And then it was probably a fourth year for us to really feel settled in who we were and our systems and our processes. All those mistakes happened in those first 4 years. If you buy into a business, in a lot of ways, that 4 years and all of that hard work is cut off. You take on different hard work. It's hard no matter how you slice it. Sure. And I always coach people going into it, like you have to have a very strong why as to why you're doing this beyond just making money. That is not a good enough why to do this. But if you can buy into a business and that's already built, there's a lot of value in that. But do not be lured into it thinking that it's not going to be hard work. It is. Likely when somebody is selling a business or even buying a franchise, there's an impetus for that. Very few people, even though we're coached to do that, sell the business at a high. They're usually selling it because there's an event or the business is not doing so well and you're coming into somebody else's problems and you're going to have to figure out how to clean it up and grow it to where it should be. So a lot of the model building stuff you're avoiding, but you need to lean in on the problem solving. So you're learning the business, you're fixing the business, growing the business, and trying to make the business profitable, likely all at the same time, which is no easy task.
Oh, come on. Yeah, just a couple of small things there, right?
Yeah. I don't want people to go into business as disillusioned, because I love when people have a desire and a dream to do this. I want everybody to be an entrepreneur, or at least try their hand at it. Everybody that wants to be. There's some people that don't, and that's totally fine. Live your life. But if you've got that calling, I want that for you. Where people dip out in that first 2 years is because it is grueling, which is why you need such a strong why. So if you're taking the trade-off of, I'm not going to build it from the ground up because you don't want to invest, that's a lot of time. You don't get paid. There's a lot you sacrifice in that. So if you decide to spend your money on a model, you're still putting the same amount of work and the amount of effort and amount of grind. It's just completely different problems. So you're trading off one for the other. And I just don't want anyone to go into it disillusioned that I'm going to buy this business and everything is going to be great. I have seen that a number of times and I'm like, no, that is not how it is.
Yeah. And no matter what you think you're buying, you'll always be surprised.
Always.
Not necessarily negatively, sometimes positively, but you'll always have surprises. And that doesn't mean that the previous seller screwed you over. I mean, to use technical
almost never.
Yeah.
People are going into buying businesses very savvy and very smart and with their eyes wide open, as they should. It should be completely transparent on both ends for a really good purchase to happen. So when you're going in, you should know all the dirty laundry. There's going to be a lot of other things that you didn't know because nobody just thought to mention it. No one thought to mention that this particular employee had this issue, or that idea didn't work out because X, Y, and Z. You're not going to know that stuff until you get into it. But there's just going to be more when you get into it. It's not glamorous. It's just not. It will eventually be, but you got to get your bruises first. You got to get your hands dirty.
That's right. What is the one thing that you wish folks knew about Sourced that they don't know? What's the one question you wish more folks would ask about your company that they don't ask?
I don't have one, but I have a different one, John, of by far, when people learn about our business, they say, where have you been? I needed you 2 years ago. I needed you 3 years ago. Once they find us, I don't think I want them to know anything different. I just want them to know we exist, which is why the scaling part is so important to us now and marketing so important, is we can make such amazing impact and change entrepreneurs' lives and how their businesses grow. And we, honest to God, care about that deeply, that we just need people to know that we exist. And because we started from the ground up and we're completely self-funded, me and my business partner has done everything on our own. We haven't grown to the scale that we can really start making an impact and change. And we're really looking forward to doing that. So we just want people to know that we're here.
Yeah. Hopefully we will get some new folks to know about you through this episode. And I can't imagine that there aren't some listeners having listened to what you've had to say today would want to know more. So let's give them directions on where they can find out more about Sourced.
Yeah, they can look us up online at getsourced.com, GETSOURCED. They can find me and Chrissy and all of our team there. Or they can find me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Gabrielle.speaks.
Terrific. Gabrielle Mills, president of Sourced. Gabrielle, congratulations. What a run you've had. And
thank you.
And there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, and you've seen it. You've seen it almost from day one. I think we met and when we were in year 2. So you've seen a lot. I was a baby business owner. You saw me grow.
Yeah, true. But you came out of the business womb a lot more fully formed than most. So congratulations
just looking like it.
Yeah.
Just fake it till you make it, John.
There you go. That's valuable business advice right there, folks. Gabrielle Mills, thank you again.
Thanks, John.
Hey, folks, just a couple of quick things before we let you go for today. Go to xpxatlanta.org if you're not a member to go find out more about membership and some of the reasons why you should be a member of this great organization. It's a group full of advisor professions, whether accountants, attorneys, bankers, insurance providers, consultants, back office experts like Gabrielle and her company, wealth planners, a variety of professions, and also companies that are looking to make an exit down the road and want to make great plans for that. The principles of the organization include putting the client first, working collaboratively, thinking long-term, considering the human angle, and always be learning. If that's the kind of organization that appeals to you, again, go to xpxatlanta.org to learn more, to join, and come on down and enjoy some of the chapter events that we have that are not only regular, but we have a lot of regular events, but they're powerful in terms of the content that's shared. And I think you just heard that in this episode. So for my guest, Gabrielle Mills, I'm John Ray. Join us next time on the Exit Exchange.